The coronavirus, it really saddens me because it's so bad.
Yeah.
Like, and I never ever thought that it would be as bad as it is, to the point where we're quarantined. It's considered a pandemic at this point. We can barely leave our homes. A lot of people are working from home. Some people aren't working at all. People can't pay their rent, bills, buy food. So it has drastically affected us as a nation. And thank you, Leo, for coming out and taking the time out of your day to talk to us and educate us about the virus, because you are a survivor. You previously had the virus, not once but twice.
That's
and
correct.
I want you to talk to the people and explain to them that journey and what it's been like for you to catch it, get rid of it, then catch it again, get rid of it again, and the symptoms and everything. I want you to go into full detail about what happened to you.
Okay, well, I was first diagnosed on May 14th over at MedStar Hospital. And so I was given some oral medication and an inhaler and sent back home. And I guess they didn't think that I was too bad off to go ahead and keep into the hospital. So I went home, and for the next 5 days, I progressively got worse. I mean, it was to the point that I didn't know, where I was, and I couldn't even breathe. I was suffocating, and it was hard to do anything. My father was kind of frantic, and if he didn't hear from me, and I wasn't in my own right state of mind because I wasn't getting oxygen in my body. That's what Corona does. It just sucks the life out of you. And so when he didn't hear from me, then my stepmother was getting mad at me. And I guess they didn't know how bad it was, but then again, I really didn't know how bad it was too.
Okay.
I just knew that something was wrong. I couldn't do anything, so I was doing a lot of sleeping. I could barely make it into the bathroom to take a shower or anything. But I just knew, if I didn't get some help pretty soon anyways, that I was gonna pass away. So
you literally felt like you were dying?
Yeah, definitely. This coronavirus is trying to shut off the lights, inside your eyes. It's that serious, and I don't think people should be taking it as a joke,
And if I may interject, before you got diagnosed, did you feel anything? Or did you get diagnosed?
Yeah, I actually had a fever of greater than 101 for like 4 days straight. And so I knew this wasn't common anyways, because I was going down the checklist of what, the coronavirus symptoms.
Yeah.
So I was having severe headaches. My coughing was just getting worse and worse. I would drink a lot of orange juice or take supplements because I had my throat was really raw and sore.
Yeah.
And it just kept on coming back. So I went to the emergency room and told them all my symptoms, but when they go ahead and check your oxygen levels, if that's not being affected, then I guess they didn't take me seriously.
Okay.
So I was to the point now anyways, after about 5 days of being home, that I knew that I couldn't go ahead and hop on a bus and go ahead and get to a hospital. I thought my life was in danger, and so I made the decision to call an ambulance.
Yeah.
And so I staggered downstairs, since I live in a 3-story house. And so I was just laying almost lifeless, out of the couch downstairs, and the paramedics went ahead and came in. They were trying to drag me out to the ambulance.
Yeah.
So I ended up being taken to this hospital over in Rockville. And so they stuck me in what they call a COVID room anyways. But I guess some of the regular rooms, they were all taken up by other COVID patients. So this is almost a makeshift room anyways. And I could see some of the walls being held up by duct tape and everything.
Yeah.
And but it's really, really cold. I guess that's the way that they treat some of the COVID patients.
Okay.
So after being there for about 6 hours, then one of the doctors decided to go ahead and stick me in the hospital just because I'm diabetic also. And I think that's really how I actually got infected. Because our immune systems are compromised.
Yeah.
So, but also the elderly are being affected a lot at greater rates too.
Yeah.
So, Leo, when it comes to your health, previously, were you ever in your life diagnosed with asthmatic or any type of respiratory issues or anything before the coronavirus affected your health, excuse me?
I don't think I ever had like asthma, but there were a couple times, I mean, where I was coming down with like these weird, like, you know, breathing attacks and stuff like that.
Okay.
And if I was just walking around, I mean, just, you know, to the store or something, then I would have to stop because I felt like, you know, my breath was just like thinning and everything. But previously, before I ended up getting COVID, then I was actually dealing with like a leg infection that sometimes diabetics get. It's called cellulitis.
Okay.
So I was dealing with a lot of like redness, I mean, and my legs were swelling up. I could barely walk.
Okay.
So I had been treated inside the hospital, I mean, about 2 or 3 different times and being discharged. And yeah, but I often wonder, I mean, if somehow or another that didn't kick off everything. I mean, me being in and out of like the hospital.
Okay. And you don't feel as though with those other situations or illnesses that may have affected you earlier before COVID, you don't think they diagnosed you and said it was COVID, 19 just because of everything that's going on, and you just have maybe been diagnosed with it because you're breathing, it fits the bill, the oxygen, everything fits the bill. So is there a chance that it may have been like, well, these things are already happening to me and they just put me as COVID? Do you think that has ever been the case for you?
I think it's hard to go ahead and gauge some of the symptoms because if you put everything together on the checklist of like COVID, then it could possibly be, the regular version, what we can consider the regular version of the flu.
Okay.
So, but if you have, I mean, like I did, really, really high temperatures, I mean, over the course of like 4 or 5 days, then that really takes you into territory of like being COVID, I mean.
Okay, I asked that because I'm asthmatic and I grew up not being able to breathe as well anyway. Yeah. So as the regular person is able to use their lungs at the full capacity, I was not given that capability. So for me, if I were to say I'm having a shortness of breath, to someone else, they may, or I'm tired, someone else may say, well, that may be symptoms of COVID. You need to get tested. But for me, I grew up not being able to breathe. I have no problem getting tested. However, I don't want it to be a situation to where as though it's like I'm looked at as if I make the wrong move, if I cough or if I fall on the floor, God forbid, I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's an asthma attack. Now I'm being looked at as, oh, you're COVID, you have COVID-19. But I mean, I have a machine and I have things to help my health, because there was a time, and there are plenty of times, where I have shortness of breath or I feel as though I'm not able to breathe, like an elephant's on my chest. But growing up, I learned different practices, steam or have a machine, like the inhaler. So would you say that inhaler versus like I have a nebulizer, the whole machine. So would you say that inhaler with the albuterol helped you, at least expand your lungs and get that air into it? Was that something that helped you?
Well, I think when I was diagnosed and they sent me back to my place, they did give me an inhaler, but the fact that anyways I was coughing so much, every time I tried to use the inhaler, I just couldn't do it. I mean, it's just like when you're trying to blow out like a birthday cake, anyways, and like you can't get every single candle anyways because you just don't have that breath sometimes.
And I have a interesting one. When this virus first started, did you guys take it seriously? Because I did not.
I didn't think it would be as bad. I thought that it was something like the Ebola and the bird flu where it would just come. Yeah. And maybe sooner rather than later, it would just blow over. But then I think when they started requiring us to stay at home and then we couldn't work or be around other people, I started to go like, wow, this is like something that I've never seen in my lifetime. And that's when I knew that we were dealing with something like bigger than us.
Yeah, I can attest to that too. At first, I didn't take it as serious. And of course, at the same time, I was still traveling abroad and doing shows. And at the time, it was like other countries that I was in, they would check you, they had masks and things of that nature. So I was like, okay, it's serious, but in my mind, it's like, how serious is this? When we started getting locked down and being banned from traveling, period, is when I said, all right, this definitely, is a global issue, and it's much larger than I could have fathomed at all. So, I mean, it hit differently after a while, but at first I was just like, you know what, if all we're gonna do is say, go wash your hands, go I don't know, brush your teeth, all the things that they were told to do. And I'm like, in my mind, these are things that we do normally anyway, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Wash your hands and sanitizer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we've been doing that, I thought, but it's like the virus, because it's so uncertain in my eyes, because it's so uncertain, it's like they're trying to find different tactics to do because it hasn't been solved. It's a puzzle that has not been solved.
Yeah.
And although you may look and see it, like people were saying it's on the back of a Lysol can, so it's been around for a long time, and we can kill it with Lysol, all right, that may be some truth to it, because there are so many different bacteria and diseases that help and hurt us. We need both.
We do.
We need both, truth be told, but because it's so uncertain, it's just like, if I can find and figure out all the ways that I can at least tell you, wash your hands, make sure you take a shower, wash your hair, wash your lips. If I can tell you those things because I feel as though it'll keep you safe, then I don't blame or fault them for putting that information and pushing it and making it something that's well known, even if they had to lock the country down. Okay, I'm not against it. Like, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I agree.
Leo, you caught it a second time. Can you tell us how it came about the second time?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, like, I don't know honestly how I caught it the first time, but I'm pretty sure I got a theory as to how I got it like the second time. So I was actually diagnosed on July 19th as, I went to the hospital because I was having different symptoms now. Yeah, I had headaches were back again, but also I had lost all taste, in my mouth, So just everything tasted like, cardboard, to me, like, I tried eating, some favorite pizza from like Domino's or something like that. And then I was at work and I'm just like, I gotta go to the hospital. I can't even taste this. So it was different symptoms. So when I got there anyways, then, I waited probably a couple hours to go ahead and get my blood work back. And then they were like, yeah, you're unfortunately, you caught it again.
Yeah.
And so I had a discussion with the doctor, and then she started asking me, well, so what were the symptoms like the first time around? So I said it was pretty bad. I was just being like, choked, and she's like, well, the symptoms this time around seem to go ahead and be very mild. Different symptoms, but also mild. So it was her theory anyways that I had some kind of immunity. That actually lessened the virus. So it's one of those things. A lot of people didn't know. If you could contract it again. So, but yeah, unless they do some, I feel like they do some studies anyways on maybe immunity and stuff like that, they're never really going to go ahead and know. But how do you go about doing that?
And I know it was slightly mentioned that it's going to be around for whether it's a year or it's going to be around, period, right?
Yeah.
If that's the case, then eventually I feel like the way human bodies are, our bodies are built to fight off diseases or infections.
Yeah.
Certain ones at least. Some we have to get medical care for, but others, our bodies are natural filters. So if this is a case where you've had it once, is there a possibility of you having it a third time or a fourth time, or because it's already in your system of some sort, is there a possibility that you are immune? Not saying that, immunity is something that's accurate, but in a way you are immune. And with me having asthma and I get tested, they may say, like the first time I've been tested, man, it was a rigmarole. So I understand the pain that you were in, but the first time I did get tested, it was like, what is happening? It's like a whole nother world. I was like, you need to do what to me? You need to take this, but
it's painful too.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah,
it's painful.
Yeah, but you know what? I did it, and I did what I thought was best. And even though, maybe I couldn't breathe or whatever, and I felt as though it was my asthma, I said, you know what? Let me still go get tested.
Yeah.
Thank God I was negative. However, if that's the case, and I still have the symptoms I'm having, how do I know? Like, do I go? Is it a waste of time for me to go time after time because I know my health and my body? You know for sure if you're not breathing right. You go wake up in the morning like, I'm running a little raw here, so you know your body, but again, your body is a natural defense system.
Yeah.
So at what point do you say, you know what, I know my body, I'm not going to get tested, enough is enough for me? Is there a point for you?
Again, you were right, as in like, I know my body very, very well, but then again, I am an athlete, and the whole point of my body, for me, I have never, ever, unless I'm really tired or I've trained a lot. So if I wake up in the morning and I'm breathing heavy, there's something wrong. If I wake up in the morning and my body hurts, okay, if I had training previously, I would shrug it off. But definitely, if I'm breathing heavy, and as I know myself, there's something wrong. If I'm lightheaded, there's something wrong.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Yes.
What did they give you to get rid of the virus? Because I know right now there's trials going on with different vaccines to cure it. So what helped you recover?
So initially, when I was taken by ambulance to the first hospital over in over I think it was called Shady Grove Adventist Hospital.
Okay.
So I was over there, and then the first 2 days, then I wasn't getting any better. And then my doctor, she was saying that she was thinking about sending me home, and that's just a death sentence right there.
It sure is.
So I was really worried, and then I get this phone call from an infectious diseases expert. He's like, I want to try out an experimental medication with you.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, how did he get your information? Was it through the hospital or your doctor? Or?
Yeah, he called me on my hospital phone.
Okay.
So yeah, then he was like, I have this medication called Resdemir, and usually it's been known to treat previously known to be treated for Ebola patients.
Okay.
So yeah, after about 3 days of being on Resdemir, anyways, I was starting to be able to breathe better. My coughing was dissipating. But in that aspect, when it's getting me better, it was also making me, just so sick anyways. I couldn't eat anything. Every day I was throwing up, maybe 3 or 4 times a day.
That's tough.
And by the time I was out of the hospital, 9 days, I had been in the hospital. They had weighed me, and I had dropped 30 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
And it's tough going through life. You're already a thin guy,
And then to drop 30 extra.
Yeah, exactly. My normal weight is about 174, so take off 30 pounds and you're pretty bad off,
So it really does take, when they say the whole 14-day quarantine process, it really does take between 14 to 21 days to recover.
Yeah, it is. As soon as I was discharged, then I was back at my place. I was breathing better, but yeah, then it's an additional 14 days,
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess, Leo, what advice would you give the next person? Of course, they may be scared or they may be unsure of how to even function or how to properly place themselves in a situation, whether they're dealing with the COVID-19, they're actually positive, or if they're negative. What is some advice you would give the next person?
You just really have to go ahead, and it's a lonely process anyways, because you can't have anybody get near you. And that includes family. I had good friends anyways. They went out and helped me out because here I have basically no food or anything back at my place. So I had some good friends, from a church, drop off some food for me and everything, including, stuff that I need, toilet paper and just cleaning supplies and stuff. And so, it was just really odd anyways, because they got out of the car, and then they placed everything on the sidewalk. And then they're we love you anyways, but we can't get near you,
Right.
So it's difficult. You just have to find something to go ahead and do. If you got a passion or you've been doing something, on and off, then you really have to fixate on other things, to go ahead and get you through that time, But just keep your head up,
Okay. What motivated you throughout the process?
It's just I've been trying to get an acting career going for a long time. I've got a few projects on hold, and it's just I've been in over 50 movies and TV shows so far, and I just need to get better anyway, so I can get everything back on track,
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What would you say to people who are taking this disease for granted? Because some people don't think that it is as serious as it is. So what do you want to say to them?
It's just basically what I was getting back at before. This thing is not a joke. If you are having symptoms, even if you think it's a cold or whatever, then I would go ahead and see your primary care doctor. I mean, first of all. But yeah, I mean, this thing is bad for everybody, not just diabetics, not just elderly people. Yes. And you know, unfortunately, until they find like a vaccine, I mean, and get it out there where it could be mass produced, then for people, I mean, that have caught it, I mean, there's that chance anyways. You know, so many people have just dropped off, I mean, so far.
Because you are a survivor, do you believe or do you have hope that they will find a vaccine to cure the disease?
Yeah, I mean,
do you think it's going to come sooner rather than later, or do you think it's going to be somewhere down the line?
Well, you know, when Trump was talking about it and just kind of blowing smoke everywhere, I mean, and talking about, oh, well, he's already found, like, you know, basically a vaccine, but he was never on the same page as medical experts and everything.
Right.
So I think it's just up to them, I mean, but yeah, I mean, medical experts just got to work around the clock, I mean, to go ahead and get something.
And they have been so far.
Yeah.
Right.
And we're hopeful, and we do hope that eventually this passes us by, because as you stated earlier, it's affected so many people. We've lost too many people from it.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you for taking time out of your day to come and sit at the panel with us and tell us your story and just how serious this disease really is. For those of you who don't know, if you have any symptoms, whether it's a cough, if you can't breathe, if you have headaches, body aches, please go to the ER, call your doctor to seek treatment, because we can't keep affording to lose people.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, it's outrageous at this point. So thank you so much, Leo. Again, is there anywhere that people can find you on social media in case they want to inquire more about your story?
Yeah, I'm actually on Facebook under Leo Rogstad.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm in the process of, you know, getting up to speed with, you know, a lot of other social media. I mean.
Okay. Well, take your time.
Yeah.
It ain't going nowhere.
But I wanted to thank everybody for allowing me on your show.
Oh, we thank you.
Thank you for coming, Leo.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We're grateful that you are one of the few that have recovered, and that you're still going and fighting the good fight. So.
And willing to share your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a scary process, but you know, we all can make it through this, man.
We can, and we will.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again. For more information on the coronavirus, please continue to watch the news to stay updated. Again, if you have symptoms, please reach out and seek medical attention. Thank you.